Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Liars Club. I'm Felicia Michaels.
And I'm Jessica Wellington.
And for your first-timers tuning in, what we do is we have two of our comedy pals come on, tell two stories. One is the truth and one is a lie. And then we try to ask questions. Be aware, everyone, we are going to ask questions. Don't let it throw you. But this is a podcast and a game. And then we're going to figure out which one is the lie. Right, Jessica?
Yeah, that's right. And today we got three, though. We're doing the Three Amigos style. We got three guests, and I'm going to introduce them. All right?
Okay, Jesus Christ. Well, how long since you podcasted? Fuck. You know, I missed you, Jessica.
I missed you. I'm glad you're not oozing.
Yeah.
Over to my left. This gentleman, he does a monthly show here. It's called The Historical Roast. It's also on Netflix now. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. And he's a talented comedian. Put your hands together for Eddie Furth.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you,
So
Eddie
excited to be here and lie to you guys.
Yeah. That's...
I hope that tone was alive.
Yeah. All right.
And across from me, this lovely lady. She's one of the first ladies I met here. She wasn't very no, she was great.
You bitch.
Pretty much.
She was amazing. I love her style of comedy. It's like no other. She was a regular on Kill Tony. She has a web series coming out on Comedy Central, so look out for that. She also has her own podcast called Shenk.
Yep.
All right, this is Sara Weinshenk.
Thank you.
Yay, Sara Weinshenk.
I'm so excited to be here.
Again, I hope that tone is alive.
It is.
And this gentleman, I love him so much. We started comedy both in Sacramento. He is a road dog like no other. You'll see him featuring and headlining across all over this country. He also does the booking for Laffs Unlimited. This is Carlos Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yay, Carlos Rodriguez. Yay.
Yay.
All right. Well, should we chit-chat for a bit or should we just jump right into it?
We could do a little chitty chat.
Yeah?
Let's talk about you being back finally.
Oh, my God. So I had the shingles.
Oh,
And
no.
that's why I watched the last show on Friday, and she just said, "Yeah, Felicia's oozing, no explanation." And when I told her I have the shingles, she's like, "Is that the old lady's herpes disease?" I was like, "Fuck, dude."
Because old people in there in the retirement home, they don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
And they
I
just they're getting venereal diseases
It's
all left and
rampant.
right.
Yeah,
I dated someone who got the shingles.
it's the worst.
Where did you have it?
Oh, I have it all on my arm and a little bit on my shoulder, but I'm also a photographer. Like I do the Comedy Pro events, and just for laughs, I had to cancel it because it's like in a week and a half, and I can't hold like 30 pounds in my hand. You know what I mean? It's not 30, but 12
And
and a
shingles
half.
is like hives, right? It's just
It's like it starts out where you think, oh, I'm getting hives, but honestly, my arm hurt for like 4 days, where I was like, fuck, am I having a heart attack? And then I just got really sick. But anyway, I'm better now.
Yay.
We don't want to bring up the word oozing again, but I'm glad to see you. And I'm
like
glad to
that-
be here.
I like that you were very specific in your oozing. You're like, yeah, no, but it's shingles. Like all of a sudden, oh, well, if it's shingles, never mind.
I know,
Okay.
But when I was watching it, like oozing, like I'm just like, wow, what for my vagina?
Yeah.
Like that's what people are thinking.
Well,
I had shingles once.
You did?
Yeah, I had like 3 shingles like on my cheek, and I went
Oh,
to the doctor
really?
like, oh yeah, if you came 3 weeks ago, we could have done something. Now just relax, you're fine.
Oh, wow.
They did nothing. They
Wow.
were just like, you're
And
fine.
what gave you the most pain when you had it?
Trying to pop it because I thought it was a pimple.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how-
It was just like
Wow.
one little
I would've
thing.
there was
done
like
that
there were
shit.
like 3 over
Uh-huh.
here, and I was like, oh man, it's just not.
Right.
This is the weirdest pimple I've ever gotten.
not
And then I
going
saw the
away.
doctor like, no, that was a shingle.
But
Oh,
did
wow.
it, because you have to be careful. I guess if you get it on your face, it can go into your eye and it can really jack you up.
I would be terrified now
Yeah,
if I didn't
yeah.
know the story had already ended well. This was
Right.
years ago.
Well, I do my bit.
Thank you for terrifying me, though.
Well, let's. That was enough chit chat. I think let's start with the game.
Well, we got the shingles out of the way.
Yeah, we got that out of the way.
Now we can build the rest of the house.
We would like to tell you that since we have 3 guests, that Austin is here. He is playing along with Michael in the control room. If you guys could turn the camera on and wave. There he is. There he is. We can't hear him, which is a blessing. He flipped me. He's told me I'm number 1.
I'll do
Anyway.
little things for him, like, golly gee, I'm Christian.
I know. And was that wiener talk? Like he says wiener, I just want to punch him in the cock. Anyway,
says wiener?
he says wiener.
I'm not feeling that.
I'm
man.
not at all. I'm not at all.
Austin, you say wiener as much as you need. Don't let them dampen your self-expression.
Oh.
Fuck all 5 of you wieners is all I have to say.
All right, so let's start the game. And Sarah, I think you should go first.
Okay, so just tell us one of my stories.
Yeah,
One of
we're
your
just gonna
stories.
go-
Okay.
Yeah, and your story can't be like 2 truths or 2 lies.
Got it,
They
got it.
definitely have to be. Yeah.
One of
I've sent him all the rules.
I got
Yeah.
the rules.
Okay.
I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Let me just take
My
a breath here.
apologies.
I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, so when I was in 10th grade, my parents went out of town for a week to Hawaii, and I decided that I was going to have a party. And I went to an all-girls Catholic school, so I wanted to figure out a way to get as many dudes over as possible. So I drained my pool and made my backyard into like a skate park. And then I charged people and had like a party for like a week. And I had a bunch of dudes over all the time.
What is
And it
it?
was
This
the
is
best
like
week of my life.
Meatballs 3.
Yeah.
Meatballs 3.
Yeah, or that
I
skating
loved that
movie.
movie. Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved
What's
Oh, it
Meatballs
was
3?
Brink. Brink 2. It was the sequel
Yeah.
to Brink.
Yeah.
Did you never see Meatballs?
No.
It's just like this classic summer camp. They all,
Meatballs 3 was actually my favorite. Patrick Dempsey was in that, and that's one of the first
Wait.
movies I saw boobs in.
Yeah,
Sorry.
me too.
Just to back up. You're talking like after the sequel, there was a third one
There
called
were-
Meatballs 3,
Yeah.
and you were talking that you saw that one?
Yep.
That's
I didn't see
insane
the
to me.
first 2. The
Okay.
first one had Bill Murray.
Right.
Didn't
right.
catch that.
And
I
Michael
was
J.
for-
Fox, right, as well.
I don't know if he was
No.
in it. I don't know. I only
I
saw the
think
third
so.
one with Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah.
That's so
I think
weird.
Kim
I could be
Cattrall
wrong,
might
though.
have been in it too.
That's like saying Grease too.
So
Yeah.
that's a story, or is there more to it?
That's it.
That's it.
Did you have sex during that time
Yeah.
Yeah.
with one guy?
Mm.
Yeah.
And how much damage did that cost on the pool? I being a parent.
I was grounded for like a month and a half afterward.
Because
Yeah.
they found
Was
out.
it worth it? Was the grounding worth it?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much though? Because you know they yelled that at you before you got grounded.
They yelled at me. I couldn't do anything. I mean, they took away like my privileges. I used to have my own landline that got taken away because I would use the home phone all the time. So I got
Where did you live?
in the valley in
Oh, that's
Encino.
right. You said Valley Girl.
How did you drain the pool?
I had my boyfriend figured out for me.
Oh, you
Oh,
had a
sh-
boyfriend at the time?
yeah.
And you had sex with another guy?
Yeah.
The story breaks down.
Yeah.
We didn't even
I
have to
don't care.
try very hard.
I'm a bad liar, you guys. No. Oh shit! I'm the worst.
Wow.
She said, and
Wow.
Patrick Dempsey showed up.
Yeah.
All right.
And Barack Obama was there.
that was pretty easy. I know. You're on the championship shelf along with Lucas Hurl for being worst liar.
Really?
Lucas
Yeah,
is.
I
Who else?
questioned one thing. I was like, the goat that doesn't climb. He was like, okay, you got me, man.
I know.
It's so hard. I was like trying to keep it together. Then I was like, okay, there's holes in my story. Okay.
I love that you didn't even double down. Like, yeah, I had sex.
Yeah,
with
we're
my
gonna
boyfriend
try.
didn't know.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was the infidelity I couldn't lie about. I was like, I feel bad now.
Well, just because you guys are all new players, we guess at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about
No,
that.
that's okay. No, it's completely adorable.
Did a big reveal.
No, it's
5
awesome.
minutes into the episode. So rock on, guys. Whose
So
turn is
I know.
it now?
Do
She's
you-
like, move
do
along,
you-
bitch, move along.
Do you wish you had enacted this plan? Is this something that you had inside of you where like you're like, I wish I did something like that?
Lords of Dogtown, my backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a movie I was thinking about, Lords of Dogtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
when you're,
do.
is that what you got the idea from?
Yeah.
I totally was thinking that. Yeah.
Because when I
Okay.
was in high school, I was obsessed with that movie.
Oh.
And my friend was like an actor in it, and he let me come to the set, and I got to see everyone skate and stuff, and it was dope.
Nice.
Very
So
cool.
I
That
thought
is
of that.
cool.
Yeah. No, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Because we're kind of made me think that you were lying too. Is when you couldn't come up with the price.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I was like-
oh damn, she's fucking getting.
I
She's
know,
get, you
I know.
get in there.
I do, because I'm like,
You're good at detecting.
and my kids break my shit all the time. So your turn.
Okay, so do I do both? Sorry, or
No,
one?
just
Oh,
one.
Okay.
Don't tell
Don't
us.
tell us.
Yeah.
Hold tight.
I was like, I'm not gonna look at you guys. Like, I don't want you to look at my eyes because then you can tell. No.
And you guys can ask questions and all.
Yeah.
When I was
You're lying. I
Yeah.
can
He's like, you know how I can tell? Because you're Mexican. And you guys don't know how to tell the truth. What fuck could I do? What did I do? I'm sorry. Did I cuss? I'm sorry.
That's all right. You can say whatever you want. Look, you can do whatever you want.
Can you do that again?
You can
I'm
say
a
whatever you
one-shot
want.
pony.
I was I kind of like, I guess I would say robbed the movie theater when I was like, well, I guess I should say I scammed it from 12 years old to probably about 16 or 17.
Is it a drive-in movie theater or a regular?
A regular movie theater.
Okay, and how did you do that?
So what I would me and my brother went and seen this movie, and it was bad, and it was so bad that I was like, I want our money back, but I didn't know how to do that. So I went to the fountain that was outside, and I got both of our ticket stubs, and I put them in the water, and I rubbed them together, and then I wet him, and I wet me, and I was like, we're gonna say that we were in trouble by the security guard, we have to leave, and we'll get our money back. And so we did that, and then once we did that, I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, let's do something else really quick. Hold on. And so I went back into the movie theater because the guy that checks the tickets had seen me, and I go, I think I left my wallet. Can I go check? Can I go grab it? And he was like, yeah, sure. So he let me in. But I went to another movie theater that was about to start. Another movie was about to start, and I found somebody. I asked him. I go, hey, can I get your ticket stubs so I could sneak my brother into the front door as opposed to going in the back door? And he was like, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, babe, give him their ticket. So he gave me his ticket, and I got my brother in.
Was the movie playing at this point?
No, the movie hasn't started yet.
Oh, I guess we see.
No, this is before the
you
movie
would have pissed
starts.
me off. I'm trying to watch the movie. Like, no, let me get your ticket.
No, I waited for people to walk in the door, and then I was like, "Yo, man!" And then, and so I was gonna get my brother in, and then I go, no. Matter of fact, here I go. Here, now you do it to the other person though, the other window. So I got water again. We did it again, and then we had like, I mean, at the time I was younger, so we had like $22.
What was this water thing?
Yeah, that's
don't
the
think
part.
it's a water
Yeah,
thing.
you got to
So
explain that a
The
little bit
fountain,
more.
the water fountain, like
Yeah.
like in malls, because
Right.
the movie theaters in the
Yeah.
mall. So we just
Uh-huh.
put the ticket in and dampened it, and then started rubbing them together so they faded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like you
Couldn't
really
really
can't
see
see it. So like that, and we've been playing in water, so it looks like we're wet, and then we're like,
Oh, and you were like, oh, we were playing in the fountain. We got kicked out.
yeah,
I
we got
need a
in trouble.
refund.
Yeah, so that's how that worked,
Gotcha.
and then I was like, boom, this is how I'm gonna.
Did you
start.
actually watch the movie and then get the refund?
Yeah, because the movie
otherwise
sucked.
you scammed yourself.
No, the movie
Okay.
sucked. The
What
movie,
movie?
that's why I was so pissed
What
off.
movie? What was the first movie you got a refund on?
We have a player over there.
He's giving it. I get anxiety from this shit, dude. I
He
feel
said,
like I'm in
"Hey,
trouble.
I've been in interrogation room, so I'm like, I got this shit. I was like, can I get a lawyer? Can I see my lawyer?
I'm
Fucking done. We're done.
I'm half Jewish. I was supposed to be a lawyer.
Yeah. The movie that I did was Page Master. That's how old this was. It was Page Master. I was pissed because this was Macaulay Culkin's next film after Home Alone, and I thought it was gonna be that, but it ended up being half a cartoon, and I was pissed, and I was like, I don't want to watch this. It was dumb. So I was like,
And you did this to what age?
I did this from about 12 years old all the way up to about 16 or 17 years old.
And you were playing in the fountain when you were 16 or 17
12.
years?
Because this is when I first did it.
Okay,
So
and
it's
then
12, yeah,
and then afterwards you would just go and ask people coming.
Yeah.
That's how you switched the scam.
So again, because you perfect it as you go along. When you any criminal will tell you, you started off once and then and then you get better at it because you already know the angles or whatnot, and you just start getting really. And I never want to get caught, but I don't care about the cops. I just cared about my mom. So I was like, I always just did this thing like, yeah. So I was like, I do not want to get caught. Because then my mom will find out. So I just everything I did was always tons of scams, and so like I always did it to where the percentage of me getting caught or me being connected to it was low. So I do a lot of shit like that, and but yeah, so I did that, and I perfected it, and I got really good at it to the point where I stole a lot of money, and I took off to Europe for about a good 4 months.
How did you steal a lot of money?
You went to Europe.
Yeah,
Why are you
where in
taking
Europe
this
did you go?
crazy town?
How did it go? Wait, how did it go from the fountain playing at the
Right.
theater to a Europe trip?
Because I'm a great liar. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm playing. I'm saying.
No.
So okay. So this is what happened. I got better at it. So
I don't want to hear about that. Where'd you go in Europe?
I went to. I hit 12 out of the 14 or 15 Euro EU countries at the time that they had. So I with that money.
I believe that's a non-answer.
Wait, I don't understand. Wait, sorry,
I don't know what the European Union was anyway, so you got one up on me.
I don't understand how you went from scamming theaters to getting to Europe.
Oh, because
That's a lot of movie tickets.
Yeah, like that's what I wanted to know is what did you do when you say you stole a bunch of money? How did you do that?
okay. Well,
Do you ever do it more than once in a single day?
I have done
Right,
it.
because I used to sell little toppers to pencils that I made, and I thought I did pretty good.
Yeah, you don't want to see what they look
Troll
like.
dolls.
Trust me.
Troll
I
dolls.
wasn't going to Europe.
I
I want to see these toppers later.
She's lucky if
Also-
she got to 7-Eleven on that money.
Let's insert the obvious toppers bottoms joke later. We'll just fix it in post.
Wait, I don't get how. I thought you were scamming the theater, but I don't know how you made enough money to
Yeah,
get a
how did-
flight to Europe.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the question.
Okay, so this is all right.
Yeah, I
let me
have a
see.
Plus the
show on
exchange rate.
television, and I have not been to
Yeah.
Europe.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I got addicted. That's why
You got addicted
I got
to
addicted
Europe?
Yeah, I got addicted to traveling. That's why that's why I'm a road comic, because I love traveling. This is the best. This is the
Uh-huh.
best shit ever. What happened was, okay, so
I got addicted to Europe. It's my favorite.
He
Nah,
does
man,
have
you know,
an
I just-
addictive personality.
I do.
I
I'm
got
a, I'm,
will
a,
addicted
tell
to
you that.
Europe.
I'm a recovered alcoholic and addict. So
I just love Venice. and fucking
Yeah, but can you
Paris
answer
and
the
shit.
question? No, can you answer
Oh,
the question?
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
I want to know.
So this is back when. So Star Wars Episode 1 came out,
Uh-huh.
and this is the first
He
movie that
loves movies, so
Yeah,
he's
I'm a
just
big-
like putting everything in movies.
I'm a big film
Uh-huh.
fanatic. I'm a big film. So Star Wars Episode 1 came out, and this is the first movie to be played round the clock.
Cash cow.
Exactly. I started after a while, I started planning my life on like what the box office would be. And I noticed this. I noticed that that everybody at the movie theater was the same age as me. They're about 16 or 17 years old, maybe 18 or whatnot. And the only thing that kind of like differentiated, who was you guys could be the same age, but you wear a vest and take the tickets, and you wear a suit and you're the manager. So I was like, fuck it. A suit's easy to get. So I went to a secondhand store. I bought a suit or a little lapel suit, and I went into
What color suit?
it was blue.
How much was it?
It was like $3.
$3. Where did you buy it from?
I bought it from a secondhand store. I don't know the secondhand store though.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Sacramento,
They
California.
have great thrift shops, great deals. I will tell you that.
I'm from the 9-1 sickness.
That
Okay.
all checks out. I bought a suit the other day for $10 in the Valley. So inflation.
That
is-
checks out too
yeah.
for me.
All
too.
right, so
And so what happened was I went into the newspaper and I cut out the little emblem for the
Uh-huh.
movie theater, and then I
Right.
made a name tag. And when I made the name tag, I just went into the movie theater. And I was just had the light, and I go check tickets, please. After a while, I didn't have to say tickets, please. People were just handing me their tickets, and I got stacks and stacks, like a whole bunch of tickets. And then
If you just look the part, I'll say all I have to do is stand by a door,
all you have,
not even be in uniform, and people will show me their ID.
yeah.
Wait,
Oh,
sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Because if you're collecting the tickets, don't you take a part of the ticket and then give the other part
These
back
are all
to the
stubs,
people?
and these are movies before they start. So if the movie hasn't started yet, then you've never seen the movie. Have you ever refunded a ticket at a movie theater?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you just like sometimes you walk
And
in.
you would how many tickets for a single movie would you?
After a while,
return?
you couldn't do over 6 or 7,
So you'd take 6 tickets back to the box office, return them.
and I was doing it to each box,
Mhm.
And then after that, I got
in one
recognized too
theater or
much.
all over town?
At this one theater particularly, but I got recognized still too much. There's just one security guard, and I see him every now and then around town, and he remembers me because I was a kid. I'm 37.
What does he
now.
look like?
He's a black dude. Yeah,
Well, I'm very offended by this story. I just want you to know my father owned a drive-in movie theater, and that is just corruption, young man.
I was murdering the. But
Now, this is going to seem really in depth, but I will tell you guys something I know about Carlos,
Mhm.
and is that the reason he works the road so much is because he actually has an Excel sheet of all the bookers
yeah.
and their names, and he puts when they like to be contacted, their however they want to be
Yeah, but
contacted.
does he share it?
No.
Yeah. Then fuck Carlos.
Well, no, 'cause you got.
That's how this is
Hilarious.
You gotta earn it, man. It's like people, and plus, like some people will get pissed if you do share their information. So
Right.
it's like I might not get work again. They'll be like, "Well, how'd you get this email?" Well, Carlos gave me this spreadsheet. So I was like, I mean, it would be great if you could give it free market like that. But then on top of that, that knocks the other people's hustle. You gotta have hustle to get on the road.
But wait, question. Why did you bring that up? How does that?
because
Excel
I
sheet.
travel.
because well, no, not
The
only
organization.
That, yeah, because of
He
how
knows
elaborate this
systems.
plan was.
I
It's
think there's a
very
lot. Look, there's
elaborate.
a lot of truth in this. I think if this is not the exact scam you pulled, you've pulled something almost exactly like it. because you know plenty of.
I pulled
details.
a lot.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Yeah,
because
Well, let's we're gonna wait in
I also will tell you that as somebody who usually wears a suit, you're right. It's uncanny how I'll stand someplace where, like, you wouldn't even expect to see a manager in a suit, and somebody will come up to me with a problem, and I'll listen to it and be like, that's not my problem. I don't work here, and like I just have to get them away. So that suit, would work.
Yeah,
That's a
and
good
as
detail.
someone who also dresses up a lot, I feel like you can get away with a lot more.
You can get away with so much more,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you're easily recognized because you stand out as being the only one who's dressed well.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
But not if it's just a navy jacket.
It's funny too, because like when I was going to the meetings at first, like I'd go into because the 12-step and shit like that, and I was telling them too, I was like, it's a lot of how you dress, because like back in the day, I started dressing a little more.
What 12 step
Okay,
program?
we can't keep going.
Yeah, we
I'm
gotta
sorry.
wrap it up. We gotta wrap it.
All
I
right,
mean,
go.
just
Boom.
yeah, and we mean that with love, but we
No.
want to hear everyone's story,
Sorry.
and we want to ask because we have people playing along live. Austin, has there been any questions?
There have been some comments. There have been some questions.
Okay.
Leah still is still going to think that Sarah's first story is true, even though
Yeah.
she's not usually right. We love her, but she's not.
You
always
ain't
right.
wrong.
Melody thinks that after that flub, I should get my seat back, and that quote-unquote watershed Aubrey Plaza should sit back in the mic booth. Not me.
Me?
I didn't say that. Melody said that.
Are you calling
About
me?
Carlos?
No, I
Read
have
it
no
again,
idea.
read it again.
I
They calling
don't
me
get the
Aubrey
reference.
Probably.
Ken knew
What
the
was
pool
it?
draining thing seemed like BS. Raver, Basher, and Melody and Ken Lawford think that Skinny George Lopez is lying on the fountain story.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And Melody needs Carlos' second story because he said the finger fidgeting may or may not have been indicative of lying.
He's a fidgeter.
I love that I'm
Yeah.
skinny.
But that's the thing I
That's what I
wanted
heard.
to thank you, Austin. By the way, Austin and both Michael are here, our on-air producers. But what I do want to say is that we have to also listen to a second story because we have to see how he tells his second story because it's probably going to be in a slightly different manner.
Yeah.
But let's move on and get to your story.
So I used to be a personal trainer and a basketball coach in Connecticut, and there was a point in my life where I had dropped out of college to become a performer, and started going to classes in the city. I grew up right outside Manhattan, and I needed a job to be stable, and that's when I got into health and fitness. It's part of. I also cope with Crohn's disease, so.
I have Crohn's disease.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful! Nice, high five.
And you both had shingles. This is
Yeah,
great.
that's probably because you're
Stay the fuck away from me,
Yeah.
both
The
of you.
immune system, right?
immune
So.
system. Yeah.
Yoga was a very big part of my life as a personal trainer and my physical fitness routine. And it was towards, I want to say about 27, 28, I started to get certified. I had gotten like a weekend certification in yoga so I could teach classes at the gym that I was at. But I tore my knee and got a concussion within 3 months of each other and turned to yoga again in my life as a big...
What? How did you get a concussion?
I was coaching basketball, and I was in the drill with one of the kids, and I was doing a rebounding drill, and he went to box me out, and his elbow came around and caught me on my left eyebrow, and it was not even a bad concussion, but any concussion is bad. So a lot of blood, stitches, concussion for a week, and then 2 months later, I tore the entire meniscus in my left knee.
Wow.
And so I really couldn't be active. And again, yoga had always been in my life, but I got heavily back into it. And around 27, 28, I did a 2-week yoga training program because I was seriously considering just giving up performance entirely and getting fully into yoga. I had just started smoking weed too, so it was perfect. And I went on a 2-week yoga certification where one of the 2 weeks was a complete silent retreat. So
Oh,
you would
fuck
go
no.
you would go for the 2 weeks. The first week would be completely silent, and then the second week you would practice because they also had like Reiki. I almost got my first attunement for Reiki, which means I can practice Reiki. Like right now, I can't officially do Reiki, but I can absolutely perform Reiki on somebody effectively.
And what is
shit.
Reiki exactly? It's like your energy.
work.
It's
yeah.
an energy healing.
Yeah.
So it's the concept is there are emotional blocks that
Wait.
create. Yes.
Question.
Yes.
Where are the Reiki zones on one's body?
I didn't learn about any zones
Ooh.
in particular.
Oh, really?
Anytime.
When you were one thing away.
Reiki.
I told you I didn't get my first attunement. I went for the 2-week course in Vermont where the first week was a 1-week silent retreat. Then the second half was a lot of the yoga, the Reiki training, and then you would go out to finish your 200-hour certification in the real world because you need to put in, you could do a 200-hour or a 500-hour certification, but that's all like practical stuff. You actually have to teach 200 hours of classes, and I got through like 35 hours of classes. Then I moved into the city and got a job at Equinox, and then did theater festivals, and then moved to LA.
So that's your whole story?
It's the 2 weeks where I did
That was
a
a great
full
question.
week of completely silent
Mm-hmm.
retreat, and then
Uh-huh.
a full week of meditation, yoga, Reiki training. Then went back to Connecticut, started with this yoga studio for about 6 months, then quit, moved into the city, personal trainer at Equinox, quit that, moved to LA.
And the retreat was in Vermont.
In Vermont.
But the crux of the story is just about
The 2 weeks in Vermont.
Question.
Okay.
The idea that there was this real moment in my life where I fully like the certification was like $1,200 for the 2
Uh-huh.
weeks. So I was in there. I'm the week of silence was the most interesting week of my life, especially for somebody who has been told his whole life that you think too much.
right.
Because to try to silence, that was the real thing for me, was trying to learn how to silence my brain enough to cope
So then the story is about going to Vermont
for 2 weeks.
for 2 weeks and being silent for one, and
and
getting
then doing yoga,
and then
Reiki,
doing
and
yoga.
meditation.
Wow, interesting. You know, sometimes, and I've said this a million times, but sometimes like the simplest story,
It's the true story.
no, is the most interesting, because it's hard to tell if it's a lie or the truth when it's
Right.
so different. Like most people tell like wild stories, but
Mhm.
every
Yeah.
once in a while when you get like a simple, because
I mean, that's pretty wild, though. Did you talk to yourself at all? Did you cheat? Like, were you
I-
out and you were just like, oh, that's stupid, Eddie. What are you doing?
I thought about talking when we had private moments, but that's also like, it's like anything else. Like, I'm just at that point, especially, I'm just cheating myself. Like, if I'm committing to the silence, then to cheat in that moment would be even the worst.
It's like golf. Like you cheat yourself because you're playing against yourself.
I
Wait,
never- I've never
sorry.
played golf.
You didn't play golf?
Sorry,
No.
how old were you when
And you're
you
Jewish?
just spent
27. I was 27. It was just before I turned 28. Like,
so you just
2
saved up
months.
money?
Yeah, I was working as a personal trainer. I ran a Jewish community center, fitness center. So I was at the JCC. I ran their fitness center. I was the manager.
I don't know
That's
why
the
that's
most
so
money
funny.
I've ever made. Well, this is also interesting. Most people in LA have no idea that I had a complete first life as a basketball coach, and as physical fitness was the first part of my life.
Who's your team?
New York Knicks. I was
Oh.
born and raised a Knicks fan. Like, my dad had season tickets. I was there when Larry Johnson hit that big 4-point play. I watched Reggie Miller kill us year after year.
I have a serious question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
I have a serious question.
Anytime someone prefaces it with,
So you said you had Crohn's disease.
still do.
Yeah, and in the middle of doing Reiki, were you ever like, fuck, I got fucking chicken shit? You know what I mean? That's
The
a serious
opposite.
question.
The opposite.
Oh, really?
I am currently not on any medication
Uh-huh.
because of the program and regimen that I followed throughout that time.
Uh-huh.
So that now I still just my diet and exercise and meditation routine is what keeps me grounded.
Are you still pretty committed to that?
Not meditation nearly as much as I want.
Yeah.
But like today, I went to the gym and just decided that for self-care, I was like, fuck it, I don't need to do it today. But I'm very
Wow.
particular on my diet.
What if you stubbed your toe? Did you say,
yeah.
ow?
Yeah. Or if you wanted to talk to someone.
I didn't stub my toe while I was there during that week. You
What
walk
did you-
very carefully.
You know, but like, if I'm at home and things don't go right, which happens all the time, like if my shoe comes untied or whatever, I'm like, fuck. this
Yeah,
is
me
bullshit.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
I emote.
I did not
Right.
encounter any. I'll be honest. I didn't encounter a moment during that week of silence that would have, because I'll do that too. But I didn't encounter one that
Wait.
week.
Sorry. And during
That's a good
this,
question,
what kind of
Jessica.
food are they feeding you on these retreats?
There
Yeah,
was a
because you
lot-
can't bitch about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could
Like-
be the worst fucking food. And
Not just,
I mean, it was cafeteria style, and they were pretty good about like the idea that they wanted to serve fruits and vegetables and healthier options. They had granola bars and simple cereal.
were
in
you
the
allowed to
morning.
write notes?
That was one where I journaled more. They said that option was up to us.
Mhm.
They said that the truest form of a silent retreat is don't write, because the idea is you're also silencing your mind. You're not supposed to think, so to speak. You want to quiet all those voices.
Uh-huh.
The idea is to slow down and to not have the activity.
And what do you do when you hear no voices and you have no thoughts? Like what
You
is it?
breathe.
You just breathe.
You concentrate on being in the moment, just like we do when we're on stage. When you're
Uh-huh.
not anticipating something, you're aware of what you have and what you are and all of the energy that is surrounding you.
Mm-hmm.
The encouragement was to take walks. If you wanted to quiet your mind but still be active, go take a walk through the woods, kind of thing. Like, find an activity that was still grounding you to reality and
What-
being present.
what kind of meditation was it?
you
Love this
mean?
girl.
Was it like transcendental meditation or what kind?
This one was. They didn't have a specific name for
It
it,
was
but it
just
was
meditation.
It's meditation. It's follow the breath, breathe in and out. You are your breath.
Right.
We would do a lot of Kripalu breathing. They weren't a Kripalu studio, but they had Kripalu influences. So like fire breath, the alternate nose breathing. Have
But
you guys
how
ever
did they
done that?
communicate to you? Were there people there in charge that were allowed to talk?
Yeah, they weren't doing
Yeah.
it.
This is
But the
great.
idea too is you're also like, I'm a big podcast person, but you couldn't listen to stuff because that's not silence. The idea
Right.
is not just silence of the mouth, but silence of the life.
Question.
And so I allowed to answer about notes, I allowed myself 30 minutes of writing a day. And sometimes I would do 15 in the morning and 15 in the evening, and sometimes I'd save it all till the end of the day. But it was only 7 days, so it was kind of like, on the last day I skipped it because I was like, let's just finish the last day quiet.
So with everyone sitting like together during this meditation period, or are you sitting in chairs, standing, floor? Like, what's the vibe? Paint a picture of the room.
I know.
That's a great question. Like any,
Like, what are you wearing? Like, what is there?
I wore a monk robe. Like any other certification, it was like seminars. So sometimes you'd have like an active hour and a half of, I say active, but that like the whole group would sit and meditate.
Seminar.
Did you ever run
Okay.
out of
Yeah.
like toilet paper? It's a serious question. Like, how do
We
you
never
ask?
ran out of toilet paper.
Was there anything that you wanted to ask for, or like if there was an emergency, what happens? Then
You
you're-
wanted
yeah.
the truth was the thing that I wanted to ask more were internal things, like things that I was feeling that I
Mhm.
wanted to discuss or ask from somebody. But what you learn in those moments is you're seeking external validation for something that will truly never be validated
Like,
externally.
What did you
The
want to
thought
ask
in my
about?
mind is just for me,
Right.
right? And so me saying, okay, so I've been quiet for 2 days now, and this thing keeps popping up, right?
Mhm.
Or like mother and father issues come up all the time. That's like the first layer that you always get to anyway. But any kind of realization internally or recognizing about what our external speech says about our identity, you
Mhm.
then want to communicate, but it's then a complete realization that that's just trying to validate it's just validation externally, which will never truly
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
question.
All
Yeah,
right.
back in the
No,
day.
no, no.
Back
Wait,
in the day, we
Sarah,
call
I
it.
can't do it no more.
The seminar. to me, this is my last question because
We
to
got a
me-
motherfucking liar on our hands, is what we
Because-
got.
because you know why? This is what I think is my question. Because when you say seminar, that's the exact opposite vibe as like a meditation retreat to me. Like a seminar seems like business people doing business
You're
things in
right.
a conference
You're right.
room.
All right,
Right,
we
but
we better
I
move
just
along.
mean,
We
like,
bet we
in
better
a
move
training
along. We got to
sense.
move
Like, it
along.
was-
Okay.
they're
All right.
you're doing it as a group and also separate. It's not like you're all just at this
So are you
place and
sitting,
walking
standing in a chair?
around. Both.
Okay.
You would do standing. and
Any
sitting.
questions, Austin? Sorry, we don't mean to cut you off. We just want to make sure
No.
that.
Okay, time
Yeah.
frame.
Yes, Eddie has been granted a nickname. Bowtie David Cross was the first person in line. Raver says every dude with a bow tie is either telling the truth or has human organs in his fridge. Melody
Or
said
both.
that Bill Nye the White Supremacist guy's story is so boring it has to be true. And Ken can't believe you guys were able to bleed that story to death the way y'all did.
Fuck.
Ken
Tell
says
us about
the
it.
silent treatment seems like something you would do at 20, not 27. Melody said normally he'd say lie, but he's seen a lot of silent oaths taken lately. And Leah, a Central Florida resident, can't believe you would spend $1,200 to learn how to breathe.
Or AKA deal with your own shit.
Yeah, no,
At 27.
You
guys
sound
were-
you sound like my father.
At
Jesus.
27.
you
Wow.
guys were eating those details up, but the whole time I'm going. Let me be the first to say lie. I don't care how many.
Yeah,
I don't care how
yeah.
many details he's got about
Yeah.
this trip.
All right, we're gonna move it along, and let's try to keep our stories tight. Sarah,
Sarah, go for it.
Oh. Back
let's see
to
if
me.
you can do it this
Okay,
time.
okay.
Don't worry. Relax. Take a deep
Yeah.
breath. You just
So
explained what
I
it
went to
does.
a concert with my friend. It was a Muse concert, and we went with our other friend who was like
Liar.
this older dude that like took us to this concert, right? And he did a bunch of cocaine and got super weird, and then left us at this Muse concert downtown. And we were like in our early 20s and didn't have any money to get back, so we got a ride home from the dudes that were selling T-shirts in the parking lot.
Oh, that was smart.
Wow.
You
And
used
then-
your resources.
Yeah, I'm an innovative. I'm an innovative bitch, you know.
Well, interesting. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Good. We're moving
What
it.
was the concert?
A Muse concert.
I don't even know what that is. Okay.
You don't know who Muse is?
No. I don't know who that is.
Oh yeah, I know.
He was in Silent Retreat when that came out.
And that was a hit for a week.
Took away his iPod.
All right.
So my turn, right? Just real
Yeah.
quick. Okay. I was at a party with another buddy of mine, and we were kicking it, and we're just doing blow and stuff like that, and getting wasted. And the blow wasn't really good. It was cut too many times with like baby laxative, like they do, to make more money. And he shit himself. And he shit himself.
Michael finally comes alive. Shit, someone said shit.
Yeah, he shit himself. But he told me later, like later on, he was like, he told me that he shit himself, and I was like, oh really? I was like, where? And he was like, I already went to the bathroom, and he's like, I got my boxers and I threw them underneath the sink, and I'm like, you have to go you can't just leave your boxers. That's fucking gross. And so, and then so we went to I went to the kitchen because like everyone has like all bottles and shit like that. So luckily I grabbed a plastic bag, and I was just like, I slide into him. I was like, you have to take this and go just wrap them up, man. I was like, this is my friend's houses. You can't be fucking just throwing shitty boxers in there. And then so when he did, I went back in, and there was like, it was gross because there was like shit. It was like when someone like they do like the CSI thing or something like that. Like there's like blood, a little particle you could see.
Splatter.
Yeah, there was like little like places like shower curtain. I was like,
This
look,
is so
motherfucker.
gross to me right now.
Huh?
This shit splatter situation.
It is. It's gross.
Very visceral for me over here.
You're sitting too close to the person telling
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah.
About the splatter to be
I was like, that's
comfortable.
gross. I was like, look, I went in, I came back, and I go, look, we got to on the shower curtain, and it's like little. I was like, it was gross. And then so
On the shower curtain, though, come on.
yeah, it was like runs because it's baby light. You ever have bad coke?
Yeah, but I plead the fifth.
you ever
I
fucking
have kids.
you ever ooze?
Yes, I'm oozing right now.
Yeah. And then
It's not fair. You have Crohn's. It's,
and then so but anyways, he tried to get in the car, like afterwards when we're leaving. I was like, I'm not, because he had the shit in his in his fucking pocket. So I was like, I'm not fucking.
Ew, why do you have the shit in his pocket?
Because he put it in the plastic bag, in the the Rayleigh's bag, and just like rolled it, and put it in his pocket and put it all in his shit. And then
Wait,
so what?
Sorry.
The boxers.
He couldn't find an outside trash can.
I have no idea. We're drunk and we're on coke, so
Whose
it's like
house
we're
was
kind of not
it?
making any sense. Huh?
Whose house was
It was
it?
just a buddy's house, just a fucking buddy's that.
Why
were
did you
How
kicking
tell
it.
big
your buddy?
Yeah.
It's drug buddies, so it's like we just know each other because we still.
what was
fuck.
your drug buddy's name?
Drug
Fucking
buddy.
Alan, and then my buddy name was Phil.
Weird name for Alan for a drug buddy.
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
say. I thought it was gonna be something cool.
I don't know.
You can
Allen's
tell.
are pretty good drug
Hey.
buddies. If I know my
I know-
drug buddies.
And then you guys are you're like, oh, you're okay, Paco. Fuck, is that
Only-
better for you
yeah.
guys?
No,
Fucking.
no.
Only
Oh.
Allen's cut the coke that much, though.
Mhm.
Right? Only Allen's
Right.
cut it 3 times.
You are not wrong.
Yeah.
They step
You are
on
not
it.
wrong. That's the story, or is there more?
Yeah, that's the story. Yeah, because
Okay.
I just want it tight. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you what happened
Did
later.
you let him in the car with the poop
No, that's the
bag?
part of the story that I was like,
Ew.
I'll just keep it tight. I didn't let him in the car,
The
and he
poop
walked home.
bag.
And then
So
some.
you left him there.
Yeah, I didn't leave him there. He walked home. Like he was already going. Like I was like,
Sprinted.
yeah.
One blow.
but it was bad coke, so he didn't sprint. He was just like fucking.
Yeah, because then
He
he would have
skipped.
pooped
He
himself
skipped.
again.
I was afraid of that. That's why I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, you fucking can't even hold your asshole. Like I'm not, especially not in the car. You're good. I'm good. Yeah.
I've pooped in my car.
Have you? Have you ever?
Let's just everyone share one. Let's just share one shit story.
Wait, in the Kia?
No, not that car.
Okay, I was gonna say, man.
In
That
the
car
car,
seemed like it was
I've
in good shape. That was fine.
Yeah, actually, it was just a week or so ago that I pooped in a trash can.
Oh, damn.
Really?
Like a champ.
Out of
It was just a week or so ago.
Where was this?
out of necessity or
It was
joy?
necessity.
It's just a real
Or
pretty
you're just
trash can.
bored.
Somebody was in the bathroom and they weren't coming out, and I had to go, and I had to hold it long enough, and I was like, I am not pooping my pants again.
Yeah,
Again.
Again.
Relatable.
So I pulled out the trash can
Where was this at?
at home.
Oh, at home.
Oh, she Airbnbs, right?
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was like listen.
We're in the kitchen?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
Well, what about if they would have came around the corner? You Airbnb a place, you come around the corner and you see a chick with your hairdo taking a shit in
In
the
the
trash can.
kitchen.
It had to be done. I mean,
Why don't you just go in the alley behind your house? That
No,
doesn't
but I
stop
would've-
anybody else.
I would have fit in there. There's actually there was a box of poop there today.
Yeah, a
In the
present.
alleyway, yeah.
In a box.
What do you mean?
Well, at
a
least-
box of
At least
poop?
they put it in
They
a
poop,
box.
like homeless people come and poop in the alley and they leave it.
In a box.
This was in a box. Sometimes it's down the wall. It's whatever.
Mm.
Sick.
They leave it in a box.
Okay. That is just too
Wow.
much fucking information, Jessica.
At least they didn't leave shitty underwear in a bag.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't gonna be in the bag. It was gonna be in the underneath the sink, and I thought
Yeah.
that was
Not even the trash can.
We're
No,
gonna
underneath the-
revisit that
what?
with many questions.
Yeah.
So go ahead with your story.
So when I was 25, I was working at the gym at the JCC in Connecticut.
That's so funny. I don't know why.
I always make sure to qualify because I don't feel like the fitness center at the JCC is even a real gym. Like we weren't exactly like, but I.
Jewish people started basketball, right?
Did they?
Yeah.
Was James Naismith Jew?
I don't know. Just because I'm a Jew doesn't mean that I know.
That's
about
why I was going to ask you when you said I went to a Catholic school. I was like,
My
wait a
dad's
minute.
a Jew.
All right.
I did go to a Catholic
Oh,
school.
you did?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
All
right.
girls.
So go ahead.
I was 25. I met. Basically, I had about a 3 to 4 year affair with a married woman from when I was 25 till I was about 28, 29 ish. The end is one of the hardest things to actually put a button on. But we.
How long ago was this?
This is 10 years ago.
Oh, 10 years ago.
She was 10 years older than me, so I am now the age that she was when I met her at 25. When I was 25, she was 10 years older than me. We had a very long affair. I bought her an engagement ring that I was planning on giving her when she inevitably got a divorce, which she did, just not when we were speaking to each other. And now she is engaged to be married to somebody else, and I live in L.A.
She lives in the East Coast.
When we met, I was living in Stamford, where I grew up, and she was living a town over in New York, because New York and Connecticut butt up against each other there, and she was in New York. Now she lives, or the last time I found out,
Sick 'em,
She
Sarah.
lived-
Sick 'em.
she lives, the last time I heard, I don't know now, she lived in Stamford. She had moved to the town that we had the affair in.
So how'd you meet her?
The
At the gym.
JCC.
100% at the gym.
At
Like,
the
so
JCC.
cliched. So cliche. Like I wasn't her personal trainer because I never charged her for any sessions, but like I met her
Because
while
you're
she
like, she's hot.
yeah, I
So
approached
right
her
away.
uh,
You were
right
like,
aw-
what about
the
her?
moment I saw her, I fell in, like the closest to love at first sight. One of the 2 times in my life I've ever felt like I was love at first sight. I did the stupid, like, I was sitting at the front desk. She walked in. She went over, and I was like, "Well, I think I have to go show her some exercise. I have to talk to this person somehow." So and she was. I
Like-
knew she was new because it's the JCC. Like, you know, when someone new comes into the JCC, like, who's
But
this?
somebody
chick
new
son?
comes into
Yeah.
the JCC.
And she
feel like
wasn't
you would've
Jewish
had a-
looking.
Did you guys have like signs like "You down with the JCC"?
Jesus.
Yeah, you know me.
How did you know, Jessica? How did you know?
Wait, but
In fact, you got
so-
the sign exactly right.
So like,
Who
was the
told you?
sex really good? Like,
Oh
what
my
kept you
God.
like
Oh my
holding
God.
on?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what?
First off, because here's something about, and I will say this was not the only married woman I've ever been with. This was
Oh,
just the
you're
one
like
that
an
was a
adulteress
relationship.
is what
Yeah,
I'm
I used to drop my dad
100%.
off
I
at
am
ladies'
fucked.
houses.
Like, for a
Really?
long time in my life, married, divorced women too, but married women especially, like
Why?
an Achilles. I think there's a level of honesty you find in people who are married because they have no pretense externally, because they're not looking to. No one's coming up. She wasn't approaching me trying to date me, right? People who are married, when they meet other people, there's no thought of that kind of a relationship developing. So there's a weird honesty to it. And in that vein, between us, the communication is some of the best communication I've ever had in any relationship because it was necessary and required. Otherwise, there was nothing. Like, if we didn't talk, there was absolutely nothing. There was one fight we had where she called or came over, and I was like, if we're fighting, why did you come here? And she was like, because if I don't actively come over here, we will never see each other. Like, we won't run into each other.
Well, so, do you think her husband knew or had any ideas?
He knew, but he didn't know. He didn't know.
Did you know her husband?
I had seen him in passing a
What did
few
he look like?
times. Like a Jewish douchebag.
Yeah.
Like
More
really thick
information.
eyebrows, very dark, full head of
What
hair.
color eyes?
Dark. I don't know his eye color.
What about her eye color?
Yeah, what did
Blue.
she look like?
She was tall.
Yeah, well, if you could pick a movie star, what's the closest one she would look like?
I don't know if I could. She had huge eyes, short hair. This was the thing. Like, she wasn't. If you had asked
I'm
me at that time
imagining
what my
a
type
cartoon
was,
right now.
Yeah.
she was very
Powerpuff
lean.
Girl.
Like, yes.
Okay.
Yes. How'd you know? Very, very lean frame, very tall, like 5'9", 5'10", very skinny, great ass.
What color hair?
It was naturally brown, but when I met her, she had dyed it blonde, pink. She had dyed it blonde. She had bleached it, but not fully, not like kind of your hair, Felicia, but a little lighter. And it was very short, bottom of her chin.
Huh.
So what was she doing at the JCC if she wasn't Jewish? She was just coming there to take some classes?
Her husband was Jewish. It was on the way home because she worked in White Plains and lived in Poundridge. And on the way, God, I hope they don't hear this. I hope they hear this.
Poundridge.
Stamford, Connecticut was on the way back, but it wasn't like, and we also were in a high pressure gym. So a lot of Jews will show up to a place and join the JCC. Like my father joined that JCC when he moved to Stamford because it's just what Jews did, and that's how I wound up going to that JCC.
I know that's true about Jews. But also, how many kids did she have?
She had no kids. She still has no kids, as far as I
I
know.
know. Why was she so mad at her husband that she fucked a guy at the JCC?
Yeah, especially
that
if she
is a
didn't
big
have
fuck
kids.
you. Yeah.
Why wouldn't
yeah.
she just leave her husband if she didn't have
I
kids?
don't know.
Was he a lawyer? You said he was a lawyer.
No, he was.
Did he have money?
I don't know. I mean,
that
they
would've
were
helped
doing
stick
all
around.
right. I went to their house. It was kind of nice. He had a
There you
collection
go.
of electric
And you went
guitars.
into their house? Wow.
In one of
Did
the
she work?
most. You want to talk about real
How
shame?
disrespectful.
100% went to their house and we watched Sex in the City 2. Or maybe it was the first one. We watched one of the Sex in the City.
No one would
movies.
ever admit to that. He's telling the truth.
I can quote the
Nah.
TV show like it's scripture. I know that TV show.
Oh, really?
Oh, I love that TV show.
I didn't. I didn't
the
watch it.
movies sucked, but I loved.
I didn't
TV
watch
show.
any of
movies
that.
did suck.
But I don't know, man, because you
I
said
was in their
you said
house
you were with her.
while
You
they
like
weren't
married
there.
women because they're honest, and it's like that's the most dishonest thing that a married woman could do. I liked married women because they suck dick as the opener. like they skip all the other bullshit.
You're not lying about that.
And
Is that so wrong
and-
though? Is that wrong?
what? No, older women. That's a great thing because older women
And
they suck. 10 years older, right?
you're guaranteed not to have a child if you have anal sex. Is all I'm saying.
Wait, she was into anal? Plot twist.
Once we started dating,
Plot twist.
I was her first.
Dating? Oh, you dated?
I was even hesitant. Like, what if she hears this? And I was like, fuck that. There's no way I hope she's listening. How are you?
What's good?
How are
Well,
you?
Shit.
How are you, Jen?
Jen.
That's
Her
right.
name.
Oh, Jen is
I'm giving her
name?
the obligatory
Jen
shout
at the
out.
JCC
Yeah.
was really angry. Janet, that's what we're gonna call this episode.
Jen at
Jen
the
at the
J-
JCC,
Oh, God.
and we're gonna
Good.
hashtag it Stanford.
Oh shit!
Ah,
I hope my mom doesn't see this one.
All right.
All
We
right.
better-
All right, Austin, will you recap the stories as quickly as you can?
Wait, were there any questions on this
Yeah.
one?
There were a few. For Sarah, Leah said that everybody thinks your story is true except for Leah, who thought that was a Roseanne episode plot.
What?
Melody said that if Carlos is really from Sacramento, then his story's totally true because Sacktown Coke is always shitty. And Ken thinks that this story is true for Eddie. So
All right.
here's the recap.
Okay,
for Sarah.
recap real quick.
Sarah's first story, she was in 10th grade and her parents abandoned her in the valley and they went to Hawaii for a week, so she drained her pool and had a skate park pool party where she charged people to get in and reenact Meatballs 2.
3.
I never have even seen Meatballs. Let it be known.
It's hard to hear back here, sorry. She went with a coked out older dude to this concert in her early 20s, but he stranded her there like her parents did when they went to Hawaii, and she had to ride home with a Muse t-shirt salesman.
I have abandonment issues. This is the takeaway here.
All right, so since we know that Sarah lied on the first story,
I'm the worst liar.
I'm
Which
gonna
also
I'm-
shows how
I'm-
you couldn't have pulled that off either. Like,
yeah.
the minute you caved on the story, it's like, oh, yeah, I can see how you wouldn't have been able to pull off
I
that.
was
No.
so nervous when you guys started catching me in the lie. I just was like, I can't. I'm a bad liar. I can't.
All right, so Does anybody want to vote? Do you want
I
to vote?
First story lie.
Yeah.
It was so. Also, like looking back at it, it had so many moving parts.
It did.
It was
you
like-
had to
Yeah.
drain
Should've
a pool, dude.
streamlined it, you know what I mean?
Very true.
It's
very
like when
true.
a kid lies,
Yeah.
and then we did this, and then we did that.
And then-
That's what it was.
All right, and let's move on to the next set of stories, my man.
For Carlos' story 1, he scammed money from movie theaters with his brother while they were wet from playing in a fountain. Then he got addicted to Europe, and it's hard to hear back here. I'm very sorry. But I think he bought a Goodwill theater manager's costume and snuck a bunch of tickets out of there or something like that in his first story. In the second story, he had some Coke that was cut with laxative and splattered it all over somebody's shower.
All right,
No.
Michael. We want to hear from Michael. Michael, what's up? What's your thoughts on this story?
Wait, give me the recap of the second one. That's not the way I understand it.
It was his friend.
His
Coke
He
friend.
ended up
cut with
leaving his
laxative,
friend.
right, I
His
think.
friend walked home because he had poop in his pocket.
Oh yeah, you made it sound like the Coke splattered. It was definitely shit, right?
No shit. It was a
Okay.
shit.
Yeah.
It was the shit, and it got a little bit on the shower curtain.
did
I
the-
remember this shit.
I know
He
this-
did. He did the shitty Coke and shit.
Do you guys remember how quickly when you're like, "What was your drug buddy's name?" Alan. Boom.
Yeah.
No hesitation. That just feels so
because
legit.
he did do coke, and I'm sure
Yeah,
he
he
did
could
have
have
a
just named
Coke
his
buddy.
Coke buddy. That's true. But you know what, dude? I mean, like you've never been doing drugs or drinking somewhere, and you kind of have some sort of shit accident. I mean, it just fucks with everything down there. It just seems pretty realistic to me. That's something. You know.
I know, but that's not like Carlos. It's too easy.
Yeah, yeah. And the first rule
guys
of
said-
shitting yourself
You guys
is
said to be tight because she was like be on go. I was like,
I
alright.
think that. Can I just say?
sure.
I think that the first one might have been a lie, and this one might be true.
Yeah.
I'm tending to lean with you, although I do want the first one to be the truth and the
Because it-
second to be the lie. I think the first one's the lie.
Austin, how about people online?
I think that everybody was pretty much thinking that his second story was true, but I thought his first one was a lie as well because it was so vague compared to his second story.
I thought
What?
it was detailed.
He gave so many details.
It was detailed and confusing.
We
Yeah,
never
but he
found out
did-
how he got to
He
Europe.
didn't really answer all of our questions.
Oh, he never did. Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
Also,
Yeah.
the suit
What
jacket
countries did you
saved
go
it.
to? He's like, I went 12 to 13
yeah.
EU.
Very true. God, that just makes it more difficult. And Austin, what are your thoughts? You said,
That I think that the first story is a lie because it was too vague.
you.
I think that the second story is a lie.
Ooh.
The shit
You know
splatter
what?
story?
I think you're.
No, the shit happened, dude.
No.
That's what I think.
No. How old were you?
Shit
How
hit the
old?
shower.
How old were you when this happened?
What the shitting thing?
Uh-huh.
I was about 22.
Yeah.
Oh,
Seems
Okay.
yeah.
That
I mean, how
I'm
many
gonna
times did you shit at 22? That happened all the time, right?
I'm with you, Jessica. I think the second story is a lie because if your friend, you guys are all fucked up, and he shit his thing, even though that's at your other friend's house, and he hid it somewhere in the bathroom. Was it a party or just you and the guy there, so that he knew who it was, or was it a party?
Well, it's like it was like a kick it, you know, like it wasn't a big party where there's like everyone's
A
accountable.
kickback?
Yeah, a kickback.
how many people were
How to
there?
Kick it.
I don't know.
A kick it.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Not as many
Yeah.
people as
How-
there were at
how many
Sarah's
Is that
people
a
were there?
song?
So how many people around?
I would say probably like roughly 8 or 9, but then like people come in and out, you know.
Yeah,
You ever been?
yeah.
You ever been drug house?
I think
Like-
the second story. Yeah, if you're in a drug
Drug house,
house
it's
and he
like-
shits somewhere and he hides it effectively, you don't draw attention to yourself by going and searching a bag and then he puts. And I think if you have
Oh, you're
boxer
right,
shorts
though.
and you shit all over your boxer shorts and he's going to be like "Rrrr," and put it in his pocket, I say that shitting story is a lie. I'm with
I
you.
don't know. The addicting to Europe part really is what
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
true too.
I just hope you
Yeah.
put that in your act.
What?
I'm addicted to Europe.
I'm addicted to traveling. That's
Just
why I'm
say,
a
but
comic.
Europe.
All right. So
Europe.
which one is the lie? Which
That's
one
on
is
the
the
stand-up,
lie?
huh?
Which one is the lie?
Oh, you want to know? I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. The second story is the lie.
I knew it. When you were like, he shit on the shower curtain, I was like, no, that's not a shitter. That's not a shitter move.
Yeah, no, I was lying about all the times I shit my pants at 22 also.
All right, and can you recap the last set of stories?
Yep, last one here for Eddie is story 1. He has Crohn's, and he did some Reiki training for 2 weeks and was completely silent, then later moved to L.A. Story 2, he was working at the gym in
Start with
Connecticut
the club.
JCC and had fell in love with some married lady, who had an affair with him, but then she got divorced, spurned him, and married some other young JCC worker, probably.
You know, it's
I hope
interesting.
it's the same JCC. I hope they have the reception in the JCC.
When,
He's a good liar.
But
Yeah.
when he said the name and then we got started the hashtag and started joking on that, I looked at him and he got red.
Really
He
scared.
got red and
That's
yeah.
what I think too. Same. I think the first one's a lie because I don't know many 26, 27-year-olds that would spend that much money on a meditation retreat.
No cool ones.
And
right?
then also
Still not cool. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Also,
This is the same version of me 7 years later.
I think the first one's a lie.
You think the first one's a lie?
I'm pretty like almost 100% that the first one's a lie.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Were you in love with this lady, or was it just like?
He bought her a ring. I
Oh
think
right,
that's
I
love.
forgot about that part.
I-
Because was
I-
there a lot of guilt attached to this? Like you seem like a nice dude. Like fucking someone's wife for a
You
while.
want the real? You want like the baseline truth?
If you can
Yeah.
get to it
It
quickly.
was never. It was never my fault. Something was broken there a long time
yeah,
before
you're
she ever
right.
met
That's
me.
a good way to look. Well,
Look, it was broken way before she and I ever made out. Like
It's
that's
true.
it's so in that
What kind of
vein,
fucking thought is
it
that?
helps,
The
helps
kind-
you sleep
the
at
kind
night.
that
Yeah,
used to
it's called-
That's like
justify,
someone
but
that robs a liquor store and was like, "Well, they didn't have a security camera in the liquor store."
the same kind of.
Hey, that's all my story. I robbed the movie theater. They should have had a better security.
The relationship was over before ours ever started, even though it wasn't done. Do you know? Like
Emotionally,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
I
Right.
get that. I mean,
And cheating sex is the best sex. I don't.
Yeah,
I,
did
I read about that. once.
but I was
Did
I
you
was-
encourage like, hey, you gotta
all
get
the
rid of
time.
it. You gotta get this done.
all that's because from my point of view, I was like, we're going to be together. Just end that. Like I am
Yeah.
literally your emotional support here. Like just
Yeah,
come
he's
be
like,
with
look,
me.
babe, I'm making all this money at the
She knew.
JCC.
I've still yet to hit that salary, by the way. That annual salary plus benefits and all the Jews you would need.
If this story's not a lie now, I'm gonna feel real strange about this eye-to-eye emotional talk we've had about it. He told me some of his feelings. I'm gonna be like, wow, this guy's a sick fuck. You made that up on the fly.
But also, if it is true, I'm
Yeah.
also a sick fuck because
Yeah.
I bought an
you're a
engagement ring
sick
for
fuck, Eddie.
for somebody who was wearing an engagement ring.
and a great liar.
All
right.
that's a good story.
So,
Great
Michael,
liar.
did you already vote on that?
I'm gonna vote that I want the second one to be true. That retreat's got to be the lie.
That's what I think too.
And what
Yeah.
a boring shit show that would be anyway.
I know.
You
You
know?
learn so
No
much.
reflection on your
You learn
storytelling.
so much about yourself when you're quiet, though.
Yeah, I guess it just sounds like a lot of effort. It sounds like something it would sound.
tell because you're getting real into like the
Because here's the other side.
metaphysical
If you
when we start
had-
talking about it.
If you had an affair with a married woman at 25 years old, spending $1,200 at 27 to go away and be quiet for a week does make a lot more sense.
Question: how much did you spend on the wedding ring, and where did you get it from?
I got it from a jeweler that I knew when I was growing up. His name is Peter Succi. Shout out to Peter Succi's on High Ridge Road next
Big
to the
Such.
Okay,
Starbucks.
this is true. The adulterous shit. That's
Yeah,
true.
but even me, I know.
You
in,
know
in
jewelers.
in Mount Olive, the jewelry guy owner, he had a friend with his friend was Ricky Petty.
Yeah.
So he was always in town. They were buddies. So I know who the jeweler was.
I don't know many jewelers. I gotta be honest.
And you're Jewish?
All right.
You're Jewish.
We're
You
gonna
don't
bring
know a
this
Jew.
back around. Austin, does anybody have a vote on?
Yeah, quickly, I want to speak for Lindsay and Melody, who both are banking on the second story being a lie. Ken is going the other way. He thinks that the second. Oh wait, he's just changed it online. Actually, just in. He thinks second's a lie, and I think that the first story is a lie.
All right.
All right, Jessica.
I think the second story is a lie.
Why?
I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Look at this guy. He doesn't look like he has an affair with a married woman.
maybe I'm like maybe
No.
he doesn't.
I think that's a good point of
he
his
he
face
didn't-
turning red.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not
And
nervous.
when he said that, maybe that was because
He was lying.
he was lying and
he
he was
hasn't
using her
really-
name, and that's why he
Yeah.
said it. But then afterwards, he might have felt bad. So I think the second one is a lie. That's my vote.
And he
Okay.
didn't really put a lot of emotion into it. As much as you think you're connected with Michael, I'm not feeling it over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel that you were in love with her.
Okay.
So
Okay.
either way,
right.
it's a lie to me.
All right. So what is the lie?
The lie is I never in my life went to a 2-week yoga retreat.
Oh.
I've never been silent for a full hour,
Yeah.
let alone
I
a
was
full
thinking
week.
that. I was
I knew
thinking
it.
that
I knew
earlier.
it because he didn't know the Reiki zones,
Yeah,
and he also
you're
didn't
right.
know what type
why
of
didn't
meditation.
you bring that up again?
And he didn't know what type of meditation it was.
Yes,
and he also
yes,
kept
yes.
saying it was like a seminar. And I'm like, that's not how people
Yes,
meditate.
You're
in
right.
Chairs.
You are
Dude, you
correct.
had a lot of detail. You guys went for a long
Yes.
time on that for that not
Yes,
being legit.
yes,
that was well
yes.
done.
Because I know
Sorry
a
you
lot
guys had
about
to sit through that
compulsive
long ass fucking story. That was a lie.
I was like,
You're a great liar.
it may not
Yeah,
be a
you
lie, but
are.
it's boring as fuck. I was like, I'm done.
At one point, Jessica was like, I can't anymore.
I was like, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to end. Fuck it.
I'm going to get in here with these Reiki questions.
I was
Right
gonna
from
pinch you. I was like, shut the fuck up. Let it
I
over.
know.
But right
did,
from
I
the
did almost get a
beginning-
Reiki attunement though. I did almost go like I almost.
We don't want to
wanted
hear
go
any
do that.
more about that. But no, right from the beginning, when you started questioning him, I recognized, oh, we have a player, and that's why.
A player.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's why his story was so like you're fucking good at this
Layered.
game, dude. Yeah,
You
yeah.
are. You're very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
you're
Because I thought
sick.
you were just lying to her, like just
Mm.
saying you didn't remember or whatever, but you really do know the names. Is what I was
Mhm.
thinking.
Right, and I think when Austin edits this episode, I'm gonna have him put over your story. Just keep with it. Just keep with it. It'll pay itself off at the end.
That'll be an extra $50 for sitting through that story again.
All right, so where can people? You guys have been so much fun, but where can people follow you? Or if you have anything you want to shout out.
You start because you went first.
Follow me at Princess Shenk, Princess like normal, and then another SHENK on Twitter, Instagram for show dates. And make sure to check out my podcast, Shenk, and keep an eye out for my web series coming out on Comedy Central.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
That's
Thanks
really
so much.
wonderful. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for doing the show. I always wanted to have like a really personal experience with you, and thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming and
thanks
doing
for
the show.
having me.
How was the vibe here today?
The vibe here is so great. It's just like a silent meditation.
Yeah.
But not silent.
This is way more fun than like a pool party where you drain the pool.
Yes.
More fun than that.
All right, next
or a
person.
Coke party.
You can find all my dates and all stuff at carlosishelladumb.com and also
Northern
Twitter.
California.
Hella Northern California, yeah. And at Carlos Comedy on Twitter and Instagram. And I just wanted to promote
Absolutely.
at the I'm taking over the games and Oakland A's games. The comedy shows will be put there. The first one is July 27th. So
Oh, nice.
start doing
That
comedy
was the lie.
at Oakland A's. Yeah.
No, that's great.
I'm so happy. I'm excited.
Okay, great. And how about you, sir?
Follow me on Instagram at I am Eddie Furth. Follow at Historical Roast and at Fictional Roast. We're going to be here on July 23rd at 10:30 p.m. roasting Jimi Hendrix. Check us out. Watch us on Netflix, Historical Roast with Jeff Ross. And I'm also here every Wednesday with the Store Horsemen talking pro wrestling if you're a
Oh,
fan.
you're on there. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that now. I'm so sorry.
That's no problem.
And congratulations, by the way, for Historical Roast. I
Thank
mean,
you.
that's pretty fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
congratulations on that. Austin, where can people follow you?
I'm the Austin Walker on everything, but please follow our Twitter, Liars_Club, and our Instagram, The Liars Club 1, and subscribe to our YouTube for all kinds of fun videos and all that good stuff. You guys know the drill.
It's Austin has a new girlfriend, and so did you see that? Did you see that video they
Which
posted when they were singing together?
No, I haven't seen that one. Was that at the church piano?
Yes, they're sitting at the church piano. And by the way, it's so pure and so adorable. You can't even look at it. It's like looking at the sun. You're like, no.
Really?
That ain't all we've done on that church piano.
Now he's no longer a member at that church.
I know a JCC that'll take you in.
All right, and Michael, did you give yours?
Did I what? Did I give my? You can find me at High Five Michael on Instagram, MikeLevinsComedy.com. You can check out my. I have a podcast called Lunch Money. It's live every Monday at 9:30 p.m. and we go over elementary school curriculum and take tests and embarrass ourselves showing what we have not retained, which is most of it.
Wonderful.
That's cool.
Check it out.
All
That
right.
was the worst rundown of it ever, but yeah.
No,
check
I
it
was
out.
listening. I thought that sounded pretty cool, actually.
Thank you, Felicia.
You're welcome.
Great pod today.
Oh, it was fun today. And thanks, everyone, for playing along, the people that we have that keep coming back and back and back. We sure appreciate that. And for you guys that are listening on a podcast, just Audible, we are live here at the Comedy Store, streaming at Mondays at 4:30-ish. and Fridays, most Fridays, not every Fridays, but Fridays at 8:30ish. And we certainly, again, appreciate that you guys play the game with us. I've been Felicia Michaels. Do me a big favor. If you have Amazon Prime, go over there and check out Pervs. It's a movie that I directed, a documentary. It has a bunch of amazing comedians in it. I'm very proud of it. And leave a review if you don't mind. And you can follow me all across the board at Felicia Michaels.
Thank you. I'm Jessica Wellington.
What was that about?
I don't know. I just felt like a newscaster.
Yeah.
Thank you for that rundown, Felicia.
I'm just trying to be professional.
It was very professional. It was
Now more in
hilarious.
the weather.
That was an odd transition. I'll say it.
No, but we have the First Liars Club live show that we're going to do here at
yes.
the Comedy Store. That is July 30th. Please come to that at 8 o'clock. Check it out. Tickets are $10 online. There'll be $15 at the door. So get them now. It's going to be
Cool.
a really fun show.
I'm gonna be there. Fuck that.
Please,
That's
thank
Oh,
awesome.
you.
please do.
I'll come by,
please do,
absolutely.
yeah.
In the Ice House, we have our show next week, or this Friday, the 12th. So check that out.
Is that a podcast or stand-up?
We do both. So it's half
Oh.
and half.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. Yeah.
It is fun.
Awesome.
And we'll definitely have you guys.
Yeah, we would love that. I mean, I would love that. I can't speak for everybody.
Yeah, I hate
I think I speak for everyone when I say we would love that.
You can follow me at Jess Wellington 2 on everything. And you have been lied to.
And you've been lied to. I like that as a tagline.